They say you can find anything on the dark web, though why you would want to find any of the things mentioned on this list is beyond me.
Some people like to think that the deep web is a joke. It's not. In no way is it a place some half-assed show-off should even think about stumbling into. In fact, I would tell even the most seasoned of hackers with any fiber of a moral compass to stay the fuck away from that place. Because it's a place that will scar you and leave you terrified to follow the cyber footprints left by someone else's shadow ever again.
Hello everyone, welcome to my new video. Sit tight and hold the breath. Today we're going to learn about the darkest side of internet.
All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to this explainer. If you're a business leader or an executive, this one is absolutely crucial. Today we're doing a high-level briefing to demystify the dark web and, more importantly, secure your corporate assets against some pretty aggressive digital threats. Understanding how internet architecture actually works isn't just an IT issue anymore. It is a critical executive mandate. So we're going to strip away the fear and the fiction and give you actionable, structured intelligence. Okay, let's take a quick look at our agenda. We'll start by mapping out the internet iceberg, compare standard browsing to Tor, and then weigh privacy tools against cybercrime. After that, we'll assess deep web versus darknet risks, walk through a safety checklist, and finally, lock down those corporate accounts. All right, starting with Section 1, the Internet Iceberg.
You've probably heard this before, but think of the internet exactly like an iceberg, split into 3 distinct layers. Up at the top, you've got the visible surface web. That's everything indexed by search engines like Google. But right below the waterline, that's the deep web, which hides private content behind paywalls and logins. And way down at the very bottom is the dark web, which is intentionally concealed on encrypted networks and actually requires specific software to access.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the sheer size of the deep web. It makes up over 90% of the entire internet. People constantly confuse the deep web with the dark web and assume it's this massive hub for illicit activity. But actually, the deep web is totally benign and essential. It's literally just your daily emails, your secure banking portals, medical records, and corporate intranets. You use it every single day to keep your private data safely unindexed. In stark contrast, let's look at the infamous dark web. It makes up less than 1% of the internet. That completely shatters the misconception that the dark web is some sprawling digital underworld taking over the internet, right? It's tiny. But what it lacks in size, it definitely makes up for in its concentration of specialized, concealed activity that requires specific technological protocols to even reach. Moving on to Section 2, Standard Browsing versus Tor. So, how do we actually connect to these layers? Let's compare standard web browsing with Tor. When you use a standard browser like Chrome, your connection is direct. Your IP address is sitting right out there in the open, and your internet service provider is tracking your activity. Tor, on the other hand, which stands for the Onion Router, is a totally different beast. It wraps your traffic in multiple layers of encryption, completely hiding your destination from your ISP, and bounces your connection through anonymous global relays. This is designed to protect your identity during legitimate research or highly sensitive activities.
Let's break down that Tor routing process into 3 simple steps. First, your data hits an entry node. It knows your real IP address, sure, but because the data is heavily encrypted, it has no idea what website you actually want to visit. Then it passes that data to a middle node, which operates completely blind. Finally, it hits the exit node, which strips away that very last layer of encryption and drops the data at its final destination. Because of this segmented journey, no single server anywhere ever has the full picture of who you are and where you're going.
Let's dive into Section 3, Privacy Tools versus Cybercrime. The dark web operates as a true double-edged sword. On one side of the coin, you have highly legitimate privacy tools. Whistleblowers use platforms like SecureDrop to leak information safely. Citizens use it to bypass authoritarian censorship. And major media outlets like the BBC and the New York Times even host official dark web mirrors there. But on the other side of the coin, it is home to illegal cybercrime enterprises. We're talking underground marketplaces that act as successors to the Silk Road, ransomware as a service, and massive hubs that exist just to trade stolen corporate credentials. Which brings us to Section 4, Deep Web versus Darknet Risks. There is a massive distinction to be made between where your data lives and where it gets weaponized. Your everyday deep web risks revolve around defending your legitimate assets against corporate data breaches, targeted phishing attacks, and compromised logins on standard networks. Darknet risks, though, that involves stepping into active traps. Think malware-infected downloads masquerading as privacy tools, cryptocurrency exit scams, and navigating sketchy forums filled with unverified zero-day exploits. To put it simply, the deep web is where your data is stolen, the darknet is where it's sold and utilized against you.
Let's get into Section 5, our dark web safety checklist.
I want to pose a really critical question to you here. When should you strictly avoid using dark web browsers like Tor? Because, yes, it's a tool built for privacy, but improper use can absolutely destroy your anonymity in a matter of seconds.
The answer is never use Tor for your daily tasks. Executives and researchers must strictly avoid logging into any standard Surface web accounts, like your personal Gmail, Facebook, or a corporate Microsoft 365 account while you're connected. The exact second you enter your real credentials, you create a direct, permanent link between your anonymous routing and your real-world identity. Your anonymity is instantly destroyed. Now, if you or your security teams must navigate these spaces, you have to follow a strict safety checklist for suspicious onion links. 1. Rely strictly on verified, well-moderated directories rather than just guessing URLs. 2. Avoid unverified links floating around on random Reddit or Telegram forums. They are very often phishing clones designed to steal cryptocurrency or deploy malware. And 3. Never ever download files or apps from unknown onion sites. On the dark web, there is no helpful antivirus pop-up to save you. One downloaded document can quietly compromise your entire corporate system.
Finally, Section 6, securing corporate accounts.
Okay, here is your playbook. These are your primary defense directives. First, 3 proactive steps to protect your credentials. Implement continuous dark web monitoring so you know immediately if your data is up for sale. Conduct regular penetration testing to find holes before the attackers do. And aggressively limit your overall corporate data sharing footprint. Alongside those, you need to enforce 2 critical best practices for your teams. Maintain strict, unique password hygiene so a breach in one system doesn't compromise another. And utilize completely isolated device profiles or clean live boot systems for any sensitive research tasks.
But look, even with all those proactive steps, data breaches still happen. And that is exactly why multi-factor authentication, or MFA, is completely non-negotiable. It acts as an impenetrable final barrier. Think about it. Even if a cybercriminal successfully purchases your CEO's exact username and password from a darknet marketplace, without that secondary authentication token, those stolen credentials are mathematically useless. MFA stops the dark web economy dead in its tracks right at your corporate firewall.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on as you review your organization's threat posture. Is your corporate data already waiting out there in the dark right now, or have you built an impenetrable deep web fortress? Understanding these internet layers is all about taking command of your digital defenses. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Take these insights straight back to your security teams. Stay vigilant and stay secure.